Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to Mindfulness Hour. Once a week, usually on Saturday morning, and when I'm back here in Singapore, usually we'll spend an hour together, and in that hour, have a 10-minute intro, kind of talk about what we're going to do. I think that's what's I always kind of like this 1 hour practice. We have a little bit more time to explore our practice, and often I'm talking about applicability of particular practices, or some kind of theory or some stories. And usually on this 1 hour practice, I try and spend a little bit more time talking about the practice itself, so that we can really get the most out of that 40-minute stretch of practice. So, welcome everybody. Today's practice is focused attention. Today's practice is not focused attention. It is actually this transition between focused attention and open awareness. So I find that open awareness can be really a challenging meditation for a lot of people, for various reasons. Other people I know actually use it as their core practice and don't struggle with it, but I think the majority of people that I've worked with find that open awareness is a bit more of an advanced practice. So we'll treat it as such and transition slowly into it. So looking forward to sharing that with you today, and we'll talk about that briefly. So I hope you're looking forward to a longer practice today. I think that can be hard, looking forward to a longer practice. I don't know about you, but I don't really look forward to sitting for practice, because I always can think of something I'd rather be doing besides practice. And I guess that's the key there, is the word doing, is that I always want to do something. And I'm always reminded of this one MBSR participant I had, who she just couldn't get her mind around this idea of not doing anything, of simply being. And it's like, hey, I could, my time, from her perspective, my time could be more effectively used watching Netflix than meditating, because at least I feel like I'm getting something, I'm doing something, I'm helping myself unwind. And I think that can be a really hard thing to get our minds around, and that can be a real barrier to meditation. Is the reason I don't do my practice is because I've just got something else that feels like it would be more effective. And I think that's one of these myths that our mind's really good at tricking us and telling us to do things that aren't necessarily the best for us. I think we can, is it easy to exercise? Is it easier to eat a salad or to eat chocolate cake? Right? Oftentimes our minds aren't leading us to the path of the thing that's the best for us. And watching Netflix is one of these kind of dopamine craving things. Not to say that you can't relax while doing it. And speaking of which, meditation isn't always relaxing either. So, but it's what comes afterwards that, at least that's kind of what I meditate for. I'm not here for looking to bliss out. And actually, I watched a TED talk from Mingyur Rinpoche, and he, who is one of the Olympic level meditators that Daniel Goleman and Richard Davidson interviewed and did studies on when they wrote the book Altered Traits. And the two myths of meditation that he talked about that really people get caught up in, and it stops them from meditating, is number one, they expect their thoughts to go away. That meditation means I'm not thinking anything at all, and you'll realize quite quickly as you try to meditate that that thinking is something that's going to continue happening. So trying your best to make peace with the fact that you're going to continue thinking as you meditate is an important part of this process. Number two, which I was really getting to, is that people expect meditation to be blissing out, not missing out, blissing out. That while you're meditating, I'm supposed to feel great, and that all of the troubles of the world dissolve, and I think that's why these kind of meditations of affirmations and listening to stories and listening to things that are designed to relax you and doing breath work. And some of these certainly have a place, but I don't think that they really exist without this. I mean, they certainly have their place, full stop. Mindfulness is doing something different than all of these other kinds of things where we're doing and we're trying to reach something, we're trying to achieve something, we're trying to push away bad feelings, for example. Mindfulness is, on the other hand, trying to make peace with how things are. And when I come back on Tuesday, that's one thing I wanted to talk about was Mingyur Rinpoche, his TED Talk, and he's really fantastic. I think what he's done and how he's engaged with the battle against ego and self has been really fantastic. His ability to monitor where he is and then to take action, to know what to do. Just a really wise man. So let's see, and I wanted to say as well, Daniel Goleman, the author of Altered Traits. I have to say I'm really pleased that when I was in Portugal, we had this SIY, Search Inside Yourself conference, and I got to ask Daniel Goleman a question. He was with us, and the question that I wanted to ask was, what's the difference between daily meditation and retreat meditation? Because he had written in Altered Traits that there is a difference, and I think the key takeaway there was that quantity is important. That the more that we meditate, it does make a difference. Every hour we spend meditating makes a difference. So we didn't dive into the details as to what's different about retreat meditation and daily practice, but I think that was kind of the key message that he wanted to send, was that quantity matters, that how much time we spend does make a difference. What is open awareness meditation? What is focused attention meditation? Focused attention is we bring our mind to one particular object. We bring our minds back to that object over and over again as the mind gets distracted, which, as we said earlier, you're thinking that you're not going to have any distractions or any thoughts is going to be a barrier to you meditating, because you're just, if you think meditation means I'm not thinking at all, means I'm going to be like throwing in the towel and saying goodbye very quickly, because you'll find that you're going to think a lot. So focused attention isn't about keeping the attention. It's the full process. It's not simply about keeping the attention focused. It's focusing attention as best we can, and then recognizing when the attention has been drawn away, and then gathering the mind back to the object of attention. Open awareness is, I believe that focused attention is foundational to open awareness, so that we know how to do this process of coming back. of letting go and coming back. Because with open awareness, what open awareness really is observing everything that's going on in your human being experience in this moment. And on Thursday, we chatted a little bit about the 3 types of attention. There was this spotlight, flashlight kind of attention. And second, there's this wider opening monitoring kind of attention. And that's really, we spend more time in this region, this open monitoring region. And then we kind of shift back and forth. So it's like we open up, we monitor, then we use our focused attention to notice what it is that showed up in the monitoring. And then we use our attention management to reset back to this open pyramid once again. So we're the kind of this open monitoring, observing what we, focusing on what we observe, just taking a moment, go, oh, here's what showed up in my awareness in that moment, and then, okay, now managing once again. I'm redirecting back into this pyramid of open monitoring. And what can show up in this open monitoring? Different, I suppose, than focused attention. So focused attention, I'm trying my best to keep my attention here or at the belly. Open monitoring, we're just seeing what comes in, right? It's like, I'm okay. Let's just practice for a moment. Okay, for the first thing I noticed there was I could hear street noises behind me. So that was the first thing popping into my awareness, is street noise. Okay, now I'm going back to this. And now I'm feeling my belly moving as I'm breathing. Okay, so that now I'm observing that, coming back. Okay, physical sensations on my ears become what I notice. Okay, coming back. The thinking about thinking, right? So I was aware that I wanted to have a thinking example to use as my last example, and realizing that as I looked for something in my mind, there was nothing there. This is very telling. Looking for something in my mind, and my mind's blank. Maybe do I really have a mind? So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into our practice. That's what open awareness is like. I'll talk about it a little bit more as I do the intro on Tuesday. So what we'll do today is focus for a while and then slowly open up to body, slowly open up to sounds, and kind of leave it there. Yeah, and I see Jeffrey's kind of got this, it's hard, right? And I think a lot of people like this practice. A lot of people don't like this practice. A lot of people find it really challenging. It does work the brain and work the mind in a different way. So yeah, give it a try, see how it goes. But like I said, today is more of this transition. So we'll be building awareness and attention through focusing, and then slowly start to expand into other objects, okay? So do your best to follow along. And any questions, I'll address them when we get to the end. Feel free to write them in the chat as things are going on. As something comes up for you, write it in the chat, and then at the end of the meditation, I'll talk about whatever it is you've written. Okay, so let's get comfortable. So find a comfortable posture. Would encourage you to be seated and not lying down if possible, as this will help in alertness. Oftentimes lying down will bring us to sleep. So mindfulness is about being awake and alive and engaging with our present moment experience. So let's begin by observing the body. So taking that spotlight of awareness and expanding it so that the entire body is in it and all body sensations. What do you feel? And specifically, I'm going to ask you to look for tension. So is there anywhere in the body that you find tension? So some places that we tend to hold on to tension would be in the shoulders, be in the back, sometimes we hold tension in our abdomen, in our belly, and our muscles here. Tension in the eyebrows, tension in the jaw. So as you observe these different areas of the body, even the chest, is it possible that through awareness of attention, through awareness of that tension, can you allow that tension to dissolve away? Intentionally bring the lower teeth away from the upper teeth. Maybe roll the shoulders a few times. Move the head around. Help stretch out the neck. Take a deep breath in and slowly exhale it out. Inhaling. Exhaling. Just one more deep breath to expand the abdomen, stretch out those muscles, and slowly exhale. And now let's return our attention to the breath. Feeling a belly expand and contract. Focusing attention on the belly. Expansion, contraction. As best we can, letting go of control of the breath. Letting the body be in control, the wisdom of your body. It's wisdom that always keeps you breathing, whether or not you know that you're breathing. You are breathing. Your role is just that of a passive observer, letting your body do its thing, and you're just watching. Inevitably, the mind will wander. As it does, letting go of whatever it is that has come into the mind, pulled the mind away from the focus on the breath. And then gently returning attention to observing the body as you breathe. So still doing our best to keep our attention here at the breath. And so we'll slowly start to expand awareness to the body. We're going to do it in a focused way first, through body scanning. So when you're ready, letting go of attention at the abdomen, then guiding attention down into the left foot. Noticing the toes of the left foot, the sole of the foot, the top of the left foot, the left ankle. Noticing any natural, normal physical sensations. Sense of the foot in contact with something. Sense of air moving in the room. Just awareness of the foot itself. So we expand awareness into the lower leg, feeling the shin, the calf muscle. Noticing the knee, the kneecap, the back of the knee, the sides of the knee. Becoming aware of the left thigh. All the way up to the hip. And now bringing awareness to the right foot, the toes, the sole of the foot, the top of the foot, the right ankle. The right shin. the right calf muscle, the right knee, the right kneecap, the back of the knee, the sides of the knee. The right thigh. The pelvis. Noticing the hips, the buttocks in contact with the mat, or the cushion, or the chair. And noticing the front of the pelvis. The lower back. The mid-back. The upper back. Coming back to the belly and the abdomen. Noticing that it's still moving. You haven't stopped breathing. Noticing the chest. The heartbeat. Expansion and contraction of the chest cavity with each breath. The left hand and the fingers. The left wrist. The left forearm. Left elbow. Left upper arm. Left armpit. Left shoulder. Right hand. Right fingers. Right palm, the back of the right hand. The right wrist. The right forearm. Right elbow. The right upper arm. The right armpit. The right shoulder. The neck. Neck muscles. Back of the neck. Front of the neck and throat. The jaw. The mouth. The teeth. The tongue. The gums. The lips. The nose and nostrils. The cheeks. The ears. The eyes. Eyebrows. Forehead. The scalp. Crown of the head. Back of the head. And so let's observe the breath. See how the body breathes. And so now just listen now as we continue focusing on the breath. So I'll give you the next instructions. So as we've become intimate and familiar with each part of the body as it is right now or a few minutes ago, we can remember quite clearly, quite recently, what it's like to connect with that part of the body. So from this focus of breath, is it possible to expand your awareness to the body as a whole? So widen that spotlight of attention to the entire body. So maybe you can find some difference between your connection with your body now and that connection we had at the beginning when we were focusing on the entire body. Or maybe you don't notice any difference. So we're intentionally widening that focus and seeing what comes up. So if any sounds come up, remembering that this is not the scope of our meditation at this time. So treating sound as a distraction, coming back to this open awareness to the body. So widening the scope, noticing that there are so many physical sensations that are happening right now. Your attention may pinpoint to one single sensation. So if it does, noticing, then using that management to reopen the attention back to the entire body. Seeing what comes up next. Aware for a moment, and then expanding once again. And it's possible that you are able to maintain a complete awareness of the entire body without a single physical sensation dominating your awareness. That's a possibility as well. So be aware of that if that's what's happening. But I would speculate that more than likely a single physical sensation will jump out moment to moment. So go ahead and continue to focus on each sensation that comes up. Let go of that particular sensation and reopen awareness. And to guide in case this is challenging, I'll just go ahead and narrate my own experience as an example. So back of the left knee, noticing the perspiration between my calf and my thigh. Now feeling the movement of the belly as I'm breathing. The tension in the left shoulder. feeling in the right underarm. Contact between my upper teeth and lower lip. Feeling of the cushion against my buttocks. Sensation in the right ear. Sensation above the eyebrows. Sensation in the left underarm. Perspiration on the left arm. Movement of the abdomen. And so you don't need to make words in your mind. The reason I'm using words is to communicate to you what I'm doing. For you, you can just be aware of that sensation, recenter the mind, then become aware of the next sensation. So go ahead, give it a try. I'll leave you with a little bit of silence. See how it goes. So let's see if we can add one more piece. So full awareness of the body. Can we also bring into awareness sounds that are happening in the present? So maybe I feel some sensation in my left toe. Then the itch on my left shoulder. And the sound of wood creaking. The traffic noise. The fan of my computer. The itch on my left shoulder. And thoughts remain outside of the realm of practice at this moment. So if you find your mind wandering to thoughts, seeing if you can just let those be a distraction. So as we work towards open awareness, the reason we go systematically is to notice, to have intention. And to notice step by step how without intention it can be very challenging. And that the mind will go all over the place. So is it possible to keep the mind constrained with a few constraints? This can help us as we expand into full open awareness. And so now, starting to let go of awareness of sounds. Let go of awareness of the body. Refocusing the attention at the abdomen. Using that as the only object of awareness. Everything else becomes a distraction as we just pay attention to the belly as it moves. And now let's close practice with 3 rings of the bell. Well done. Congratulations on making it through our practice. How'd it go today? I started to have some real numbness in my left foot. And I noticed that dominating my awareness for a while. Just being aware of the pins and needles, feeling like each pin and each needle going into my left foot. But then also realizing that even though that was dominating my awareness, there was still a lot else going on in my mind as well. In my body, that I was noticing what was going on in my body. And the other little distraction that I had here today is that there's a hornet that's flown in here. Even I thought the hornets were sleeping at this hour, and so it was. Frank versus Hornet happening in the background, so that's kind of where you hear the meowing. I think if you had your eyes open, you might have seen me dodging the Hornet at some point as I had my eyes open. Looks like Frank has successfully disabled the Hornet now. But that can be distracting. And actually, as the Hornet flew by me, I was noticing fear. What does fear feel like in the body? So it became part of my practice. All right. Questions or comments? Yeah, you bet. That is distracting. Yeah, now I'm looking at Frank's over there, just looking at the Hornet. His tail's kind of swooshing around. But yeah, success. Now I'm just waiting for him to eat it, right? That's like the next step. Is cats eating their prey. Anna shares, it was interesting that when Frank meowed, my whole body vibrating. Yeah, and it can be really, really distracting. That's what Frank's kind of like my little distracto. He's there. I mean, not just for me, but for you too. He's there to see, how focused are you. So every time you hear that meow, that's a test. How focused can I be when it's time. Barbara shares, I was paying attention to my body. Then that's when I guided you all to open up the sound, and suddenly there was a loud noise, and she writes in quotes, a loud noise, which my clock ticking. And that's so interesting, right? Is how when we have our attention one place, and actually you'll find this with open awareness, or at least most people that I teach find that open awareness can really, really make things that are quiet loud. And I guess what's nice about that analogy is it doesn't mean necessarily sounds. Maybe I have a quiet physical sensation, something that I don't notice very often. And then that becomes a lot more obvious when I'm doing open awareness practice. And it can be thoughts become more obvious. And I think this is really where open awareness practice shines. Where the real power of this practice comes. It's those quiet things becoming louder. And because of that, we end up having more awareness of everything that's going on. And I think open awareness practice is kind of the practice that we use in day-to-day life. So as I'm doing something, as I'm doing that thing that I've always done, I stop for a moment and go, oh, wait a minute, there's a physical sensation in my body. Like I feel something. I never noticed that feeling before. And so, my example today was fear. And as I saw that hornet fly close to my head, after it was gone, I was like, oh, this is the moment. This is the moment to feel the bodily sensations that accompany fear. Because with open awareness, it became obvious. I didn't have to look for it. I didn't have to even think like, hey, I'm afraid. Whoa, hey, I'm afraid. Let me check to my body. What's fear feel like? It was the opposite. It was those bodily sensations became obvious. Like, oh, I know that I'm feeling fear because I feel this kind of, this sensation in my stomach. I suppose that's kind of where the feeling of fear arises, and also the feeling of loss of breath temporarily. Like I feel like I can't breathe as well just for a few moments. And I'd say because it's a hornet. It's not like it's not a lion, right? The feeling of fear is smaller, but still it's noticeable, and I think that open awareness really helps make those quiet things more noticeable. And so then you can the more that we're aware of what fear feels like, the more that you can realize when you're thinking anxious thoughts. Oh, hey, I remember when that hornet came near my face, and I'm feeling that same feeling right now. I wonder why that is. Is it because of the thoughts that I'm having? And so this really helps us when it comes to observing how we react in day-to-day life. And so it could be, and I think that's one of the reasons I focus on physical sensations, is because physical sensation is where so many keys or so many clues to emotion lie. So what does fear feel like in the body? What does anger feel like in the body? And then, and it may take time, right? It may take time for that physical sensation to show up. But if you've been practicing open awareness a lot, you should find that in day-to-day life, little things that you wouldn't have noticed start to become noticeable. And through noticing those things, you start to have some ability to decide to deal with it. To go, oh, wow, I never realized that, I thought I was fearless. Seems that hornets do create some kind of fear in me. So thanks, Barbara, for bringing that up. I think that's a really important thing, a really important segue, that those quiet things becoming loud is extremely valuable in bringing mindfulness into daily life. Davey shares, I got to watch myself release scary movie fear I've been holding on to. Also, I noticed my body starting to dance. Thanks, Davey, for sharing. And Jean says, and then the concern is this, and then, okay, I see. That's 2 messages. So Frank's sound brought over the animals in Jean's house. and a bigger distraction today because of the stuff that Jean's dealing with right now. Thanks for sharing. Brooke says, I obsess over my uncomfortable surroundings by others, by neighbors, how to fix it so I can be comfortable. And I guess, yeah, and I suppose you probably already considered this, Brooke, but I'll just say it for the sake of everyone else as well. Is it possible not to fix it? Is it possible to be with it? And I think that's really an important part of this practice, is learning to be with whatever's here. So, does it have to be uncomfortable? What makes it uncomfortable? Why are you uncomfortable? How do you know that you're uncomfortable? What do you feel in your body? Is it possible to recognize that you can be at peace despite your external surroundings? I think that's really an interesting concept. Can I be the mountain? Like, do you think about the mountain meditation? The mountain doesn't care if it's snowing or raining. It doesn't care if tourists come and look at it and like it or don't like it. Nothing matters. None of these matters to the mountain. It just sits and bees and bees and bees itself. Yeah, I understand. For sure. That's why I have thick curtains. And no lights bother me. That helps. For sure, that light has effect on our sleep. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for joining in this 1 hour practice. I'll be back on Tuesday. Talk a little bit more about open awareness. Kind of work through that intro. What's the difference between focused awareness, focused attention, and open awareness, and start to see what's that all about as we practice this a little bit more. Let's send our well wishes out to ourselves and to each other. May I be happy and peaceful. May everyone here today, watching, listening, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. May all sentient life around the universe, including hornets, if they're sentient, be happy and peaceful. All right. See you next time, crew. Bye-bye.